What's going on, guys? Recently did a video on a Maxpedition micro toolkit. I called it Urban Survival Kit because it just helps me get through the day, going into city areas, going into work. But a lot of people brought up good points. If you want to be a true urban survival kit, you're going to need more items in there, and they are right. So I am working on that. I'm working on building things up a little better. Currently, I'm using this Maxpedition, and these things have been helpful so far. It's helpful to consistently carry around a kit, keep it in your car. It really does make life a little bit easier and makes the day flow better. But let me show you the items I have in this kit. And I'm still open to suggestions, so if you guys have any, please feel free to say them. I still have to add some more items. This kit is pretty packed out, so I'm going to be switching over to a Maxpedition Beefy. But in the meantime, let me go over everything inside of here. So let me start with what's in the front. This is something called a cable card. This is basically a very thin profiled piece, and it has USB-A, USB-C, the Apple USB, whatever that's called, this other USB thing. I'll put a link in the description. You can check out what works for you guys. Basically, they can all connect and convert to each other. They can all adapt to each other. Very useful if you have an Android phone and your significant other has an iPhone or something like that. Very useful to convert things over and get power and get charging, get signal to something that you need. Haven't used it yet. It's very useful in theory, though. Alright, so starting from the left, I got my Cast King pliers. These are fisherman pliers that are basically used for different uses. I use them for these types of rings, key rings. You can open them, you can close them, and of course a pair of needle nose pliers with this little hook has many different applications, and of course it can serve as just a pure needle nose pliers. Good to have on me. This is one of the few tool items that is away from my little tool kit. I'm trying to keep this kit in terms of useful items that aren't conventional tools. I know a lot of my stuff has tools in it. I have more than enough tools in my car, so I am ready for that. So I'm trying to prepare with other items. But that's the first item I got for you guys. Next up is my Secchi Edge nail clipper. Best nail clipper I've ever used, and it's pretty affordable. $20, I think, on Amazon. It'll be the sharpest cutter you'll ever use, unless you use something that's even more high-end. Highly recommend it. Check it out. My Klein electrician scissors. Just good to have a pair of scissors on there. It does have more electrician type capabilities. Hopefully I'll never have to tap into those, but it's there if I need it. Just a regular Pilot G2 pen over here. Nothing crazy, just something basic. A pair of Renoco tweezers. These tweezers are intended for grooming, but they have holes in it, so you can use them for many different applications, including sewing, which is really what I got them for, in case I need to do some sewing. Next up, I got the Nano Oil. WD-40 I think will work for some people because it will dissolve some things that you don't need, so that your moving parts can get moving. But I prefer 3-in-1 or Nano Oil. I have this in there because I work with a lot of metal on metal, but any kind of oil is good. And inside these little pens, it's even better because these pens really protect oil from leaking out, so they are very good. So in here I have basically all my lockpicking tools. I'm not an avid lockpicker. I'm not even considered an average lockpicker. I'm probably below average, but I did have a situation recently where I had to pick a lock. I didn't have my kit on me. I borrowed a friend's, and it worked. It took about 15 minutes, but it did work eventually, thankfully, and I didn't have to call the landlord to bring him over there to open the doors up. So I want to have these on just in case. I don't think I'm ever going to use them. I never want to use them, to be honest. But a lot of these are from Sparrow. So basically this is the Kraken. It's a nice rake. This is the, the Wraith, I think. This is just your single pick, which I'm not very good at using. Medusa, maybe, I don't know. And this is the Banshee. I don't know the names, but they're basically rakes and picks. Got a city rake in here. For those that don't know, this is a very common type of rake pick, and it's very useful for most locks you'll find. And this is a, I guess, diamond pick. This is the only type of single pick that I can kind of use, and it's what I use to pick open a lock, so I have that on there. And then I have a couple of torsion wrenches. I have these kind which I'm used to using, then the flat kinds. I think I got all of these from Sparrow. I'm sure they're good quality, but I can't tell you a good quality pick from a bad quality pick. I really can't. Next up I have in here, this is like its own little mini kit. So this is by Commando, and Commando makes, you know, little small tools that have a little chuck in there. Then you have a little opening in here, and you can put those tools into the chuck. So this one specifically comes with files. It comes with a lot of jeweler's files. I don't need all those files, so I put 3 of those files in there. I also have a lot of sewing needles, so I can actually take the sewing needles and use this as an awl. All I do is stick this into here after I open up the chuck. And now I have a little awl tool, so I can poke things and work with it. And I also have some drill bits in here, some micro drill bits. So if I want to tap out by hand a little pilot hole, I have the option to do that. Hopefully I'll never have to do that. And of course I have some sewing thread to go with the sewing needles in case I gotta patch something up. Hopefully I really don't have to do that often, but hey, it's there, it's available. Behind that, a couple of wire ties. Don't have to explain that, very useful. And a little notebook. I have a notebook attached to my wallet, but I thought, hey, let's include another one in here just in case. So going on to the middle, I have 2 different pieces in here. So first I got a pretty cheap knife by Wall Upton. It's a Tanto style blade, which is similar to X-Acto knife, and it's $20–$30 for this knife. It's pretty decent quality for that price you pay. I have trouble opening with one hand, but you know, it gets the job done. Can't complain. This next one is a saw by Outdoor Edge, so pretty much any decent saw I could find is going to be much larger than this. Most of the saws I've found are multi-tools, Victorinox saws. I just don't like having a multi-tool to depend on. I like having a variety of tools in a pack. It's just the way I am. But this saw by Outdoor Edge, you know, it's pretty portable. It fits pretty well in there. It's a decent size. It's short enough to fit, and it's got a protective edge here. I believe this saw is meant for hunters when they're processing game, when they're cutting open like the pelvic bone or cutting through the pelvic bone. This won't puncture the bladder or anything and then create all those nasty smells. So this will be a dull end to protect different parts of the game that you're processing. Alright, so going to the left, starting from the bottom, I got a pair of wire cutters. Again, another tool that's away from my toolkit, but hey, these come in handy in a lot of situations, and they make backup nail clippers, so why not? Next piece is a little unique, a little different. So this is Jet Pro waterproof plasma lighter. So I'll open this up, and hopefully you can see it well on camera. Yeah, you can see it. Sounds like a little taser. It looks like a taser, and it actually works pretty well. You can light up candles with it. You can light up paper on fire. It is very practical as a lighter. It is a bit bulky, and you're thinking, why is this bulky if it's electric and not, you know, powered by butane or anything? And it's because, hey, it extends out. Look at that. I can bend this accordingly, and if I want to light up some scented candles, I can do that, and it'll work just fine. How do I know this? Because I used it to light a scented candle last night. Charging cable is here. It's USB-C. The downside of this is that this button is very sensitive. So if you leave it in a charge position, just be careful it doesn't fall over, because just takes a tap and that'll light up. Right under this, I have this Coleman for all-purpose 27-piece first aid kit. Mostly bandages, alcohol wipes, sting relief wipes, antibiotic ointments. It's got some safety pins in it. It's got a razor blade in it. The tin itself is reusable if I really get desperate. And I put some dude wipes in there. I don't want to explain what these are, so please don't ask. You should be able to figure out what these are. Next up, I have a fabric measuring tape. So I didn't include conventional measuring tape in here. As good and useful as conventional measuring tape is, it's meant to measure things, linear objects like window frames, doors, things like that, which is very useful. But something like this, I can wrap around and measure circumferences, different widths, different lengths. I have a lot more flexibility with this. It does hinder me because with regular measuring tape I can grip onto things and I can't with this. But I'm trying this out, seeing how it works, and hopefully it works well. If not, I go back to measuring tape in here, no big deal. So here I have thread locker. I'm probably going to switch this out with super glue, because I think I'll end up using super glue a lot more than thread locker. And don't tell anyone, I might end up using super glue as thread locker in some situations. It just happens. Last up in here, I have this little toolkit. I did a video on it very recently, actually. Got my Knipex Cobras, pry bar, adjustable crescent wrench, a little flathead screwdriver I added in, some bits, a ratchet by Precicycle with the pass-through bit, and an Olight flashlight, and I added this plastic pry bar tool into it, pry bar / scraper. I'm probably going to switch the flashlight out for something that is chargeable. That way I have multiple items that are chargeable in here and I can plug them in my car. And yeah, that's pretty much it. These are small tools that I'll just use and need. And like I said, I didn't want to make this kit a regular tool kit that had all the stuff that I normally carry, so I condensed the tools into just 1/4 of the kit. Well, I mean, I guess you can count scissors and this and the pliers. Alright, well, I have less tools in here than I do in most kits. So that's what I have for you guys today in this upgraded urban survival kit. I am, of course, like I said, planning to add some more things in here and probably upgrading to a Maxpedition Beefy very soon. But so far, carrying this thing around, even if I only use a few items, has been useful. I've been more consistent with it. I've been using it using it on me every day. I've had it in my car, and I gotta say, it's just making life easier. So I'm gonna keep doing that, and I'm gonna keep adding to it, and hopefully I'll have something that'll be able to cover most or all the situations that I encounter in day-to-day life living in a crowded area. So let me know what you guys think, and if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them.